Let's do the pledge first, because we're going to go right into the select meeting after this hearing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Well, we're meeting at 6 o'clock due to a hearing that was published in the Granite State, wherein the town of Brookfield is looking to go ahead and amend our petition for licenses for utility poles and conduit. So we have to go ahead and have this hearing and open it to any kind of public comments or anything that the public wants to add to this. It's the idea that right now, the ability for the towns to tax utility poles and conduit that runs along the right-of-way, we need to have the proper documentation in place so we can go ahead and get taxes from the utility companies. It's been a source of a lot of litigation and trouble over the years, so we want to make sure we have this done right. So this is why we're having this public hearing now. So I open it up to the public if there's any comments or any questions about what we're doing. Mark?
How many poles are in Brookfield?
I don't think we have a count right now.
And how can you be wondering which one's the license and all that?
This is going to be for, we petition for any new poles being applied, and then we go ahead and we have the assessor, we can tax them.
And how many poles are being taxed at this time?
Not a lot.
You don't know which ones?
It's pretty much been a problem all along, is how we're trying to get this cleaned up.
Because I got a printout from Diana that states how much the town gets for revenue
Yep.
from the utilities. So it must be a count on how much per pole.
Right, and that's why we want to get this cleaned up, so we can get all, because there's 3 utilities, well, 4 actually, in the town, so we need to go ahead and tax them all properly, and every utility can hang lines from poles owned by the utilities, so it's something that we need to go.
Good.
And so it's something we know that we had to get our petition done properly, because it's not proper the one we have, and a lot of times poles are being put into place without the proper licenses put into place.
Do you object to us doing this?
I didn't say that, did I?
It's a hearing it's a hearing on the wording for our poll licenses. So either you support it or you don't support it.
Well, I support it, but I'm just curious, you know.
Thank you. Go ahead. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want, any pending taxation does not actually involve the property owner, is that correct?
That's correct. It's only the utility companies, because technically, imagine the town owns the 50-foot right-of-way
That's
all around
right,
town.
that's good, thank you.
Okay.
I have another question,
You go ahead, Mark.
if I'm allowed to speak, am I, Rich?
Mark, go ahead.
Where there's a pole in question where it is, if you're taxing the pole and you say it's on private property, is that double taxation?
I don't think it is. If there's any poles on private property, then I don't think we have the ability to tax it.
It's in the public right of way, that's right. Whatever if the pole is on private property, we're not supposed to tax them. So we have some poles in town that run through right of ways, and they're not part of the calculation.
But you don't know which poles are taxed and which aren't.
The assessor does, because he puts out a bill for about $4,000 a year revenue.
So I'm gonna have to check with the assessor to see which poles are taxed.
You could do that.
Okay. I have another question.
Go ahead.
When you do a petition to license a
Yes.
pole, and the town gets a $10 fee for it,
Yes.
where does that money go?
Virginia would be the one that collects that fee,
Goes to the general fund.
and then after that, that money would go to the treasurer and it gets added to the general fund as far as I understand. There's not like a specific account for that. It's no more than permitting fees and stuff.
All right.
Anything else?
That's it, no?
Okay, thank you. There were 2 letters submitted to us from 2 of the utility companies that were noticed by way of certified mail. One is Eversource. regarding public hearing notice, hearing to amend pole and conduit licenses. I'm just going to read on the record their letter. Dear Board of Selectmen, the undersigned is the legal counsel to Public Service Company of New Hampshire, DBA Eversource Energy. Eversource has received a notice of public hearing in which the town of Brookfield will take up the matter of petition by the Board of Selectmen for the universal amendment of the existing pole and conduit licenses in the town to require payment of properly assessed property taxes and to require licensees to provide information pertaining to entities attached to their poles or conduits. This is to advise to the extent the proposed amendments seek to make language changes to the pole licenses of Eversource consistent with RSA 7223 and rulings of New Hampshire Supreme Court, New England Telephone and New England Telephone Company versus the City of Rochester, 144 New Hampshire, 118, year 1999, and Verizon New England versus City of Rochester, 151 New Hampshire, court rulings 263, year 2004. Eversource does not intend to raise legal objections to the amendments. However, this should not be construed as a waiver of Eversource rights to protest, seek abatement of, or otherwise legally challenge as excessive or disproportionate assessment by the town of Brookfield of any incremental property tax upon Eversource use of occupancy of the public right-of-way. Ways within Brookfield and Eversource fully reserve such rights. Eversource does not, however, object to the proposed amendments to include the requirement that the licensee submit to the town of Brookfield in writing the names and contact information for any additional providers authorized now or in the future to place equipment on any Eversource pole or conduit. I almost got paid by the word. The conditions are not revisions required under RSA 7223 or the New Hampshire Supreme Court cases interpreting the statute in order to legally assess the tax, either the facilities or equipment of these licenses or the use of occupancy of the public right-of-way by the named licensee. Furthermore, such attachers, to the extent they may exist, are required to license or permit their facilities located within the public right-of-ways with the town of Brookfield pursuant to RSA 231-159, just as Eversource is. Consequently, the identity of attachers utilizing the public right-of-ways, whether by attachment to existing utility poles, conduit, or otherwise, should be attainable from Brookfield's own public highway licenses records. Eversource is not aware of any statute or other provisions of the law, New Hampshire, or in which of New Hampshire, which authorizes the town of Brookfield to compel Eversource to provide information as a condition of pole or conduit license. We will bring to your attention, in accordance with RSA 374-34A, a public utility such as Eversource must provide non-discriminatory access to their distribution pole licenses and conduit to certain third parties seeking to use them for attachment of their own lines, cables, or apparatus. Under existing regulations, New Hampshire public utilities, such third parties are required to clearly label attachments with their own identification. This affords other means by which the town may obtain its own information pertaining to the attachers of the public, utilizing the public right-of-way. Under these circumstances, Eversource maintains it's neither legally or necessary or fair to require a licensee to provide the town to report information about other uses of their poles, conduits within the right-of-way. Such a license is not required as a public good. As Eversource is unable to send representatives to your hearing, Eversource respectfully requests this letter be included and made part of your public record and read into the minutes. Thank you, Christopher Oliver. You want to read that one?
Yeah, this one is a letter from the electric co-op, and they're asking us to consider using their form for pole licenses because they do business in 115 towns. Each town has its own form for a pole license, so they said, please consider using our pole license form. Nothing legal about that other than a request.
Okay. All right. I'm going to throw out there one more time for any public comments or any issues. Because I'm going to plan on making a motion that's going to go ahead and
Then close the hearing.
I thought I made the motion before I closed the
You
hearing.
close the hearing, we talk about it.
Okay. I'm glad you paid attention. All right, so if no other comments, we're gonna close the hearing, and selectmen are gonna go ahead and discuss this and make a motion to accept the petitions.
I think we have to do it, otherwise the lawyer says do it, or we can't collect our taxes.
Sounds good to me. So I'm gonna read the following motion onto the record, and Selectman Zach and I will go ahead and rule on it. So this motion is going to be made as follows. Let me see. Declare that all outstanding poll licenses issued by or under the authority of the Selectmen of Brookfield or its predecessors in office acting under the provisions of RSA 231, 161B, or its predecessor statutes are hereby changed to incorporate each such poll license in effect as of August 15th, 2018, and effective as such date. The following changes by inserting therein the following language, and we have the language with the new whole license agreement. I don't need to read that. I'll
Can I read it?
All right. So it's just this one
Yeah,
here.
just that paragraph.
Okay. In accordance with the requirement of RSA 7223IB, this license is granted to the licensee, subject to the condition that the licensees and other entities using or occupying the property of the municipality pursuant to this license shall be responsible for the payment of and shall pay all assessed real and personal property taxes no later than the due date. Failure of the licensee to pay duly assessed personal and real property taxes when due shall terminate this license in accordance with the requirements of RSA 7223 IB. The licensee hereunder and other entity using or occupying the property of the municipality pursuant to this license shall be responsible for payment of all and shall pay, excuse me, should be responsible for the payment of and shall pay both current and potential real and personal property taxes when due. Furthermore, in accordance with RSA 723B, the licensee and any other entity using or occupying the property of the municipality pursuant to the license shall be obligated to pay real and personal property taxes on structures, improvements added by the licensee or any other using or occupying the property of the licensor to this license. Okay, so there's my motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, Rich seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so this is now going to put into place, and
We
we'll...
would report that tomorrow with the town clerk.
Yep.
And, good to go.
That was fun. Yeah, I think you need to write all that down, all right there. Much weight. What's that?
That has to do with, she protects us before other,
Oh, this is the cable.
this is for Caitlin.
You want to do that now?
Well, we agreed to go with her, that's her contract.
All right, that's just... We just have a retainer letter and an agreement from the special counsel that we retained in regards to the cable contract. It's a special conflict of interest waiver and representation agreement. And we've gone ahead and we've agreed to go with her, and we will take a look at that and sign that contract later.
Okay.
I don't think we need to make a motion, we already made a motion to accept her, right? All right. Do you have a check this long? Yep.
You want one?
Okay, now that public hearing's closed, we're gonna begin, it is noticed for 6:30. All right, so we have 15 minutes to kill. At 6:30, we're gonna begin our board of selectmen hearing, which starts at 6:30. So. All right, are you all set, Ed?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we are, 6:30. We are back for the Board of Selectmen meeting. We've already done the pledge, we have no scheduled speakers, we've got some minutes to approve. So let's do June 26 minutes first. I was there, Rick was not there, Rich was there.
So we're not gonna do that.
No, you were there. It was, Rick was not, sorry.
So we don't have enough to vote for it.
But wasn't there.
Who was there?
Me and you.
Okay, we can do it. We can do it.
All right, so I make a motion, we accept the June 26 minutes as drafted.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now let's check out July 10th here. We were there, it was tardy. Shame. All right. I make a motion to accept the July 10th minutes as drafted.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. What do we get here? I was there. Yeah, we're all there. July 24th minutes, I make a motion to accept them as drafted.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any public comments? No, you good? Everyone good? All right. Treasurer.
So I have the town budget as of July 31st. And all the numbers done, so you can have those. I'll leave one for Rick, and there will always be one posted in the common office in case any of the boards or committees need to see where their expenses are through July 31st. It'll be in this lovely, charming thing. Tonight at the close, before the close of the meeting, I'd like to review with the selectmen the MS 434, which is a review we do this time of year on the revenue that we've received to date. It's due September 1st to DRA, so I'd like to get that, get the numbers more finalized tonight, and then I can submit it. And we do have quite a few bills tonight, so we'll do that as well. And I would like the board's permission to apply for a Dun & Bradstreet number in order to begin the process for the emergency operation plan grant that we have going on.
And you've now been in touch with them, and you go to the portal, and it's...
So you first have to apply for a Dun & Bradstreet number, and then you have to go to a sam.gov portal to put in the Dun & Bradstreet number that you receive. And that's so that the federal government has a way of tracking who's getting the grants from on the state level. So the other thing to do with that is for the sam.gov website, we need to provide a notarized letter appointing the authorized entity administrator. So whoever you decide to appoint, we need to have a notarized letter indicating who that entity administrator is.
Would you be okay with taking that role on?
I don't mind taking it on now. It has to be renewed every year. I've dealt with this kind of government,
No, yeah, that's what...
so in the past.
Richard, would you be okay with just making Mary Lou?
Yeah, but how much?
This one's free, to
Okay.
the best of my knowledge as of now. When I went to the sam.gov website yesterday to start looking into this, there was a $599 fee, but when I emailed the woman at the state we're trying to do the grant through, she indicated I was at the wrong place, so hopefully there will not be a fee.
And we only need this until we get our money back, I guess, from the state.
I believe so, but it sounds like it has to be renewed every year. So I just set up a tickler file to renew it every year. Which is fine.
All right. Do you have like a stock letter we could use, or is this...
I can write one,
All right.
and
Do
we
you
can
get
get it
notary
notarized.
Did you get your notary stuff yet? I know.
Sort of, but she has to send it back. But I can get Virginia. I can stop in and get Virginia.
Okay, excellent then. Thank you.
Okay. So I'll do that so we can continue on that
I
process.
should make that a motion. To
Yeah.
authorize her to do that.
All right, you want to go make the motion?
No,
Want me to?
what, give me the words, what are you gonna be?
I will be the entity administrator for sam.gov in order to facilitate the getting of the emergency operations grant.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Mary Lou as our
Entity administrator.
entity administrator for sam.gov in order to go ahead and get grant money for the emergency
Operation.
operations plan.
Grant money, period.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it is all
It would be
future
grant
grants
money.
federal.
Yeah.
All right, so just amend that motion just for grant money, not for emergency managers, all grant money.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, Mary Lou will do the letter, and Deb, did you need to notarize? All right, tax collector, nothing new to report? Okay. Administrative assistant?
Yes, so I did get the approval from the state for the notary paperwork, so I just need to take my oath, have that notarized, and it gets sent back. From there, I'll need to order a stamp, so, and then that will be done. The website is still progressing. It's been a little bit slow, but I've heard from them, they have it built now. Rose and I are gonna do a conference call with them tomorrow, and that process will be continuing. They said that this, now will start on our end. It'll require some more time from us for review and feedback. And lastly, we had an inquiry to have Congresswoman Carol Shea Porter come and just hold some open office hours for anyone to come in and visit with her if they had any questions or comments.
Her rep?
Yeah. I don't believe Carol Shea Porter herself is coming. Typically, they send like an agent up
Yeah.
their office.
I thought it was for her, but maybe it is her agent. So that is scheduled for Wednesday, August 22nd, from 9 to 11 here.
Did you put a blurb out?
I will.
Thank you.
They're supposed to send a flyer with additional information, so I'm waiting for that flyer to come so I can attach it.
Do you still need pictures for the town website? I took a really good one the other day.
You can send it to me, and if there's a place where we can use it,
Okay.
yeah, I think we'll find out more tomorrow on that call. So I think that's it from me.
Okay. Oh, Staples. Let's talk about Staples cards.
Tables, cards.
There was 2 staple cards out there. One was the active one that you control within the box. There was one with Virginia that's now outdated. We're just gonna keep one card, and anything Virginia needs, she just needs to email or write a list for Lori. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're gonna get the other card back and tell her to destroy it.
Yeah.
If it's
I
not
can
good,
do
it
that,
doesn't
yeah.
mean much, but let's at least get it and
Okay.
destroy it. And then whatever she needs, which is kind of a couple quirky things she needs, certain pads and whatnot, so.
She likes the columnar pads, and then I think what we have a receipt for her tonight. We'll probably have to have you get the number for her little printer in there to get the HP,
Toner.
yeah,
Ink and stuff.
ink, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Planning board.
One new thing to report is that we're receiving our master plan surveys back. We've got actually a lot. So the planning board will soon be going through these to get the information and the data points and combine and make a report of the master plan. And the next meeting is Thursday.
Do you have a date they're due back by?
I'll have to check. I don't think there was a date that we had set. We're hoping for the best. It looks like we got quite a map.
Good. The code enforcement road agent.
I'll start with the roads. So for the planning process of paving this year, we should probably figure on paving Pike Brook, Tucker Road apron, and the 3 hills that we had talked about on Tumbledown Neck Road. And at the present time, it's $1,000 over our budget, but I feel confident after talking with them, I'm gonna be able to obviously get that in the budget. So,
Can you remind me how much we have budgeted?
$80,000.
Was it 80 even?
Yeah. Yeah. It was under up until I got a call, and they had left out the hill, actually be the last hill in, the one that gives us the most trouble.
Yeah.
Because of its location, it's directly in the sun, so it dries out constantly, and it washes pretty good. That's long and a little bit wide, and then the other one, the first hill going in short, that one, because of the ledge there and the way it always washes out, it stays there until it washes down and hits the ledge, and the way the ledge is shaped, it forces the water out into the road. When we pave that, we're gonna actually pave swales on both sides, so that won't happen again.
Okay.
I think we gotta move on this plan. It's already August 15th. We were waiting to do something with Bryce,
It doesn't look like it's
and
gonna happen.
it's not happening. If we wait much longer, we're gonna miss our opportunity
On everything.
on everything.
Yep, yep.
If Bryce comes along, then we're gonna have to try to find the money to do it.
Yep.
But there's a lot of work to be done there yet.
It's a timing issue, trying to find somebody to get the trees, and then waiting for Eversource for the pole, and
Then 3 companies to move their wires,
try,
and it's August 15th.
right.
So let's move to get these 3 projects done, and Bryce is
Yep.
still hopeful, but, you know,
Yep.
we can't hold everything else up.
Yep. And then we've been working for the rest of the dirt roads in Cedar Park. We dug out all the ditches. We haven't done that. I don't know as if I've done that in 13 years that I've been, almost 14 years that I've been doing this. So we went through, we dug out all the winter sand on all the ditches. We even cut the bank back on the sharp corner on Sanborn, so now when you drive around the corner, you can actually see if there's cars coming or not, with full support of the landowner. And then we had another issue, even after we did that, did all the grading, there was still some washout happening on that corner, which was coming from the barn. All that water goes down, and the only place that water can go after it puddles up in front of the barn is out the road and runs down. So we spoke with the homeowner and asked if we could dig a giant dry well, because it's all sand, it just isn't absorbing fast enough in a heavy rain. And they gave us permission to go ahead and do that, and we finished that today.
Okay, good.
So, I mean, it's the equivalent of about 42 yards of stone. It's big, it should not be a problem. So, that's where we're at. And then we're moving on to, I will be grading and then adding gravel to that next. And then while I'm doing that, they're going to fix the washouts on Tibbetts Hill tomorrow. So as soon as I'm done grading and graveling there, I'm going there to grade. And then Pike Brook, we're gonna go to the end of that and fix that culvert, replace that culvert actually.
Yeah.
It's been ripped up and all of that. Plus I broke through a couple of years in the road near the end. So the last 40 feet in the turnaround at the end of Pike Brook, we're gonna mess that all up. And we're gonna peel it up. In that proposal is to lay a base layer down before they do an overlay of the rest of the road. So we'll get all that done before they're ready to pave.
Excellent.
Okay, and as far as code, there's just a lot of questions. I do have a permit that I'm working on. Actually, I got 2 permits now. And just getting some paperwork filed. Yeah.
Excellent. While we're on the topic of Bryce Drive, Lori, let's see if we can dig up the copy of the summary judgment motion that concerns the Bryce Drive from a few years ago. And I'd like to go ahead and get the summary judgment motion posted onto the website along with a copy of the survey that we're operating under. There's just a lot of misinformation out there about Bryce Drive and what's transpired over the years, so I'd like to at least have that documentation on the website. So anyone
So we
That
can-
lives in Cedar Park, that's questioning things, or, you know, they can look at it firsthand, and we can dispel any misinformation that's out there. Thank you.
Okay, so for the roads, you're all set to go with what you just described. You own that now. Get that
Yep.
paid.
Yep.
Then you did invite me down to Palmer
Yes.
to take a look at what appeared to be some encroachment into the right-of-way by a number of people. I've got some pictures of it. I suspect we should, I suggest we write a letter to the people on Palmer Drive and point out the RSA that says, keep your stuff
No storing of anything in the right of way.
out of the right-of-way. I mean, it's not just vegetation, there is a little vegetation, but there's also fencing, material things that are going into the right-of-way. So, I think we should either draft a letter ourselves or have the attorney draft a letter saying, please don't do that.
I think from the town makes a little sense.
Make it generic, and then just hand address it so that we can use it in the town elsewhere if we ever see we need to.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
I'll try. I'll draft it, and I'll try to get it drafted out.
sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Conservation Commission,
There is a meeting next Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock. It's on the website, but all the flyers didn't go out yet. The Moose Mountain Greenway folks will be making a presentation on conservation easements, what they're all about, some of the restrictions that may or may not be placed on the land through a conservation easement. 7 o'clock next Wednesday, next door.
okay, thank you. Cemetery trustees, they didn't meet yet.
They meet tomorrow. Heritage Commission?
Oh,
So
right, skip right over, I'm sorry.
Heritage Commission, we had the 10th annual town barbecue. Thank you all for coming. We had fewer people than we normally do, but we still, it was a nice evening once the rain stopped. Thank you to all who came. I have to figure out a date we can meet this month, because I can't meet tomorrow night, and looks like the next couple Wednesdays are busy, so I will email and we'll let Lori know so she can post it on the
So in
website.
September, maybe after Labor Day, try to get together.
Oh, that might work.
Yeah, it's
better.
already towards the end of the.
Yeah, so I will let everybody know when that will be. And we'll start planning for next year's activities and stuff like that, so. But I think that's it. Thank you to everyone who came to the dinner and for everyone that helped. It almost takes a town to put on this big event every year, and I really appreciate the help that everyone gives to myself and the Heritage Commission. I'm only the coordinator, but it's a lot of work, and it was really hot this year,
Yes.
but we got through it. Thank you.
All right. Any of the boards and committees? Okay.
As you know, the board has entered into an agreement with Fish and Game to have a grant which would perform a forestry plan for the town forest. I spoke to Tom Nolan, and he's back from vacation, and he said that he will start the job sometime in the fall, around October. So you'll be hearing from him around that time to make the arrangements to go out there and begin. He would rather have the leaves off the trees so he can accurately take an assessment of the area. So, October 1st.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to old business. Townhouse painting update. There's not much to update. Can't seem to get anyone that wants to paint a job that big.
Did that fall through?
I'm not saying it fell through, but it's my request for a written documentation keeps falling flat, even though I speak with the gentleman, and I told him exactly what we needed. So I'm at the point where I think we need to go and try to find somebody else. So,
Put it on the web again. You still have the letter?
put on the, yeah, we can put it on the web, and I think we need to maybe look broader, you know.
We tried to stay in town.
We try to say local, but we have to look into Wolfboro, Lakefield, Ossipee for our painters. Because this is
Yep.
getting late.
Do we want to put anything in the paper? Do you want to entertain that or
I don't think that's a bad idea, if we can get,
I think we should too.
yeah.
You've got the write-up, correct? It say write-up.
Yeah, put something in the Grand State News and just see if it gets some hits.
not? Okay, I won't be able to get it out for this week's edition, but,
Okay.
so it should come out on the 23rd.
Do the 15th of September. May not get painted this year, right? You gotta give them a couple, 3 weeks to look at it. And everybody's busy.
Yeah, see what the weather holds up, the best we can do.
Yep.
If we can't get it painted, then we have that extra money that we set aside for painting. So we could either figure out some other project to use it on, or buy a bunch of paint. All right, and I'll look around Wolfboro, and I know there's a few outfits over there that paint, and I'm not sure if there's any, see if anyone in Ossipee. There's gotta be some crews out there that want to take that kind of work on. All right, poll license agreement, we just did the hearing, so that's all in place now. Paving plans, we just heard from Ed. ZBA member appointments for new business. Okay. All right, this is from Paul Tremblay, the chair of the ZBA. To the Brookfield Board of Selectmen, I request the following recommendations as members of the ZBA. Paul Tremblay, term to expire 2020. Susan Weisky, thank you. Term to expire 2021. Ernie Brown, term to expire 2019. Frank Frazier, term to expire 2021. Richard Mauser, term to expire 2020. They also request that the Selectman Representative Brian Wiltshire, that's not necessary for a motion, but we'll stick on. And that's it. So I make a motion to accept the five appointments that they have recommended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so they are good to go.
Lori, would you give them a note that it's done? I think they have a hearing coming up.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a no too. All right. Inspector election appointments per RSA 658-2. Dr. Marsh had brought to our attention that we needed to go ahead and make these appointments for inspectors of the election. The two proposed candidates would be Rob Collins and Frank Frazier. So I'll make a motion that we accept Dr. Marsh's recommendation for Rob Collins and Frank Frazier for the inspectors of the election committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? How long is that for? Is that a term or is that annual? Is that per election?
My understanding was for that election. I'd have to read the RSA to make sure, but I'll check with Marshall to be sure. I thought it was just for that election. But
That's okay. I'm not, just curious what I just signed up for.
yeah, right. It's a life you're in. So I'll check with Dr. Marshall. But I'm pretty sure that was for just that election, but we can double check on that.
I have his email here. It says officially it's a 2-year term.
It's a 2-year term? Well, there's way he was talking at the breakfast the other day. It sounded like it was just for that election. But maybe he just needs you for that election is maybe what he was getting at.
Well, we appointed you for 2 years for the RSA.
So you're in. All right, man, I'll double check that with them and make sure that it's for the full 2 years. But I think we just need you for this next coming up election. Any other new business?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about offline, my discussions with the attorney on cables. The cable issues, the cable franchise. And I'd rather not have it outside this room.
So
Yes.
you're going to discuss a legal,
Issue.
something between you and an attorney?
Yes.
That you have an agreement with?
Yes.
That's considered a non-meeting.
Okay, then we're gonna go into that non-meeting. You gonna turn that off?
Oh, you're gonna do it right now?
Yes.
You need to make a motion. You need to do,
We're not going to a 91A, we're just going, make a motion, we go into a non-meeting.
Yeah, it's not non-public, it's just a non-meeting,
Take a
so.
recess, would you like to recess the meeting?
yes, you do something. I mean,
I just wanna turn the tape off.
Long and short of it.
It would be a good idea, it would be a good idea, just a motion and roll call it, just for officiality, and then just recess.
Okay. Brian Robichaud, here.
Rich Steiger, yes.
And we'll make the motion as to recess to have a non-meeting discussion. And I'm gonna make a motion that we come back to our regular selectmen meeting on the record.
So, we've been in communication with the lawyer that we've hired to help us with negotiating the new franchise agreement with Charter/Spectrum. She has suggested that we do some homework if we're gonna try to, let me back up a little bit. We've got about 25% of the town dwellings that do not have access to high-speed internet. We're getting feedback, unsolicited feedback, that the kids can't work from home, they can't have businesses from home, there's just no high-speed internet. We also get feedback from real estate agents that sales are actually falling through because people find out that there's no internet available. So there seems to be an interest in part of the town to have it expanded. Talking to the lawyer, she says, that's okay, what you have to do is you have to do a lot of work to make sure that you can argue, discuss with the cable company the need to have this done. So I'd like to suggest that we activate the cable committee again. It is there, but get them engaged in trying to get the information we need for the attorney to work with Charter to see if we can't move forward with maybe some sort of expansion plans.
Will you be willing to
Yes.
be the selectman chairman?
And Ed's on it. I don't know who else is on it. We'll get a couple more people and we'll talk about our strategy.
Sounds good.
All right.
Anything else, no?
Well, this is just a signature. It's an update 911 record, so when a new house is constructed and a house number is created, Nielsen, the assessor clerk, knows that. He has to tell 911 about the existence of that.
Oh.
So that, Jessica used to do it. Now we have to replace Jessica with Nielsen.
Okay.
So you have to sign that when you get a chance. Ed is the backup.
All right, so. It doesn't need to be notarized now.
No, no.
All right, I'll sign that.
Bills.
Anything else, Neil?
Bill's done.
Okay. So any other public comments? Or skip forward? No? All right, we're gonna do some bills and read those on the record.
10 Construction LLC is submitting a bill for $16,277.50. Ossipee Aggregates for 3/4 inch crushed bank run for $261.79. Millennium Roads LLC is submitting a bill for $5,355 for de-icing liquid. Mitchell Municipal Group, the town attorneys, we have a bill for $41 for Fairpoint, and another bill for $41 for General Matters, and a bill for $133.83 for Eversource.
Eversource is taking the town and many other towns to Superior Court because of the way we're taxing them. And hence, we had to update our records tonight, our poll licenses. But this is our share of that lawyer's bill, 133.
And there's 37 towns. it looks like.
37 towns, and I think Consolidated the Superior Court just ruled on Consolidated, that's the phone company, and they effectively ruled against the towns, which means we collect less tax dollars.
Northern Human Services is requesting the $358 that was approved in the budget. Virginia is requesting the New Hampshire City and Town Clerks is having their annual meeting, and so the first part of this is a check to Red Jacket for 2 nights. And then also the registration for the event itself, $73 for Jennifer and $50 for Virginia to attend. Carroll County Register of Deeds, there's a bill for $34. Salmon Press for a public hearing is $64. Virginia went to Staples and has a bill for $63.47 for supplies. And the bill for the school district this month is, for August, is $190,571. We have a bill from A440 Computer Service for $1,836.94 for the most of the year. And also dues for the Conservation Commission to be paid to Moose Mountain Regional Greenways for $100. Consolidated Communications for the phone is $85.57. And for the internet to Consolidated Communications is $42.16. We have a bill that we never received from Morton Salt for $1,932.05.
Excuse me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It still seems wrong. That seems like that elevated, how much is it per
Now
ton?
$58.85.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Must have been a rainy day when they delivered that.
Heavy, you mean it was heavy?
Yeah.
So I also, as the treasurer, am requesting the funding for warrant article number 6 to put $500 in the conservation fund. And then also warrant article 7 to put $500 in the heritage fund. And then also to pay $30,000 to Marcia Hunter for the 2018 payment. And then I bought kitchen towels for $17.94 because we didn't have any. I used my own. There you go. So this will take it down to, but those are the same year because we did 2 different payments. And then this was last year. This will bring it down to owing $120,000.
18. Okay.
That's it.
I'll make a motion that we accept the pay the bills as read.
Second. Second motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I have a question now. There's a $16,000 bill in here for 10 construction. When I look at the budget, you have 180,000 budgeted, have spent 103. 16 on top of that makes it 120. We have $60,000 left for snow plowing and the work on
The roads.
So we have 60,000 left. Last winter, we spent 66 for removal of snow.
The majority of that was after the first of the year. That was already taken out, this budget.
Oh, and.
From, I can't remember what, it was minimal. Usually we say $15,000 for snow removal,
That's 135.
For the end of the year.
So that's
to the end of the year.
That's 135 against
Yep.
180.
Yep.
So we got 50,000, 45,000 left.
Yep. I guess I don't know what you're getting at.
Can we, at the rate you're
Can
going?
we spend that?
Oh,
Sure can.
but I don't want to spend more than that. At the rate we're going, we're gonna be over that soon.
I don't know as if I ever went over budget other than the cost of a paving project because of the way we worded the warrant article.
Okay, so this is through end of July, and you're assuring us that we can live within this budget. It's still good.
Always have.
All right. Okay. The other one I was gonna look up is the computer services. That might be pushing it too. I think we had 2,000 in there.
Exactly.
I thought we had 2,000 and this is 1,500 or something?
1,800.
1,800, so that could be the whole thing.
We have 2,500 in,
I thought we did.
but most of the year's done.
Just a comment to your concern, that was also a 3-week spell right there too. That bill was for 3
That
weeks.
16 thing span of 3 weeks.
Yeah. Just so you know.
All right, I'll sign these bills.
So actually you have 3,000 for IT.
That's what I thought we put in $3,000.
So we have 2,500 under the selectmen and 500 under the town clerk. And I know part of this bill definitely would involve work for the town clerk.
Yes. Oh, we. Given what happened with the money last year. is
You
this
know what, I
sufficient?
typically put it in March or April, and I did not do that this year for 2018, so I need to do it before the end of the year.
Oh, I understand.
How we doing with sand and salt? Will we have enough to get us through to?
No, I gotta fill it up.
Okay.
What?
You, every time.
The assessor says we're gonna be doing a revaluation of the town next year, just for your information. But if you notice in the paper, the sale price against the assessed price,
You need to approve Virginia.
the sale price of houses are way above the assessed value, like 30-35%, way out of line. So next year will be a reassessment. And the MS, I guess, the MS1 goes in?
One goes in
September
September
1st. So that'll be done his next visit. We have 3 of these.
Yeah.
See if we can get out of that, Brian,
Well, well.
get out of that suit.
Yeah, we'll talk to her, she's back in vacation.
Anything there we should read?
This is just a letter from the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation telling us what we'll be getting for the state highway block grant. So next year, our payments will have decreased from $10,000 per quarter to $6,700 per quarter.
And which line item is that in our budget? Is that the-
It's the one, highway block grant. It is this one here. We usually put in about 15,000. We're gonna be adjusting that. We've received 23,000 for 3 quarters so far, so I was gonna adjust that up to about 30,000, because we'll receive that 6,000 more,
Okay, cool.
okay?
So you wanted to do that?
I do
You
wanna
wanted to
do
go over
that.
that form?
Yeah.
There's one for each of you. So I'll review it, but I need Eddie to stay kind of close.
What we're doing is we're telling the state what we think our revenues are gonna be. We're truing up our revenues for the tax base.
Right,
So we gave them one number in March, town meeting, and now we're gonna give them a better number because of, in August of the year.
yep.
So,
The first line item, I'll review the ones I'm thinking of changing or why I'm not changing them. The first one is account number 3120, land use change tax. We only have received $1,850, but the tax collector has billed out $16,950. So I'm thinking I'll leave it where it is and see if we get that money before the end of the year. The other one that falls into that same category is the yield tax. We've only received $1,956, but they've billed out $7,390, and we had $8,000 in for this year.
one of the land use change tax bills is gonna be abated. They're gonna recommend they abate it. The necessary paperwork was supplied last Friday to justify staying in current use. So that's gonna be down $5,000 from build.
Okay, so I will see what I want to do with that one. Abated. So then that would take that, so I will have to take that down to, I'll work it out. Okay, so the other one is interest and penalties on delinquent taxes. We had put in $15,000. We've now received $19,000 as of 7/31, so I thought I'd put in $20,000.
Sounds good.
Here's the one I'm not sure what to do with. So, building permits, we have received over the last 4 years, we put in $6,000 into the original budget this year. Because in the past, like in 2017, we received over $6,000. 2016, we had $7,200. 2015, we had $7,800. But this year, we've only received $1,800. We have $6,000 in the budget, and I'm not sure what to do with that one.
You have to get, I'll have to look through the receipt books because I'm pretty sure there's more than that I've taken in. So I don't know.
So maybe you
I don't-
and I can meet on it.
Sure, or maybe it got
because-
mislabeled or,
But I only have the one category for you, so any checks I get have been put to this account.
and And is that
Starts January 1st.
calendar year?
Yeah, calendar year. So I'd like to go over it with you and see what I do, but I've got to get this report in. So, I'll see what we do, but you and I should probably meet on it.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm gonna take it down. Okay. Then other licenses, permits and fees, we had, 2,000 in the budget, and we've received about $3,500, so was gonna put that up. Highway block grant, we typically put in $15,000 in the budget, but since I received this letter from them and I know we've received $23,000 to date and we'll get another check for $6,000 before the end of the year, I'd like to put that up to $30,000. This is one of the ones that typically in the final stages of going through this whole process to set the tax rate, Michelle Clark will come up with the actual number that we'll get. So she'll probably adjust that one further. The other one, we had other grant money, and I think that's the emergency
Yeah, that's what that was.
plan. So I'm not sure what to do with that one either, because I don't see how we could get the whole project done and the grant money in by the end of this year.
I think you need to zero that out, and that was my opinion.
Yeah.
You agree, Rich?
So
We're not gonna,
I don't think we'd have time to get the whole project done.
yeah, I understand that, but when do we have to pay? Are we gonna be able to, they don't wanna know the zeroing out the expenditures, just the revenue.
Just the revenue.
Right.
So, because we're not gonna spend the 5,000.
We're not gonna spend the 5,000.
Right.
Yeah. So sale of municipal property was at 500, I'm bringing that down to 300. And then interest on investments was at $750, and I'm putting that up to 1,500. So the only other one I had a question on was the conservation funds, the $5,000. I thought that when we were talking with the gentleman that would be doing the grant and all, it wouldn't be $5,000 that it would actually cost us, that we would be, am I right on that? Do we have a number?
Yeah, he was gonna bill us 25 and we get
That's what I
15,
thought.
15 from the state.
Yeah.
So we're only getting, so I'm pulling in
You can pull it,
2,500, so I'm pulling in 4,000 total?
no, you can only pull in,
1,500.
we're gonna get 15 from the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I gotta put all the money I'm receiving.
And then you can take 1,000 from the conservation trust.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's not money income.
Right.
So it's only 1,500, right?
From conservation, is that what I'm pulling?
It says from conservation funds, we're planning on $1,000 there.
1,000, okay. Okay, perfect.
And where,
So-
where are you gonna show the 1,500 for the
That's what I was
state?
gonna ask you. Like, we're still taking the 1,500.
So that, the 5,000 could go to 1,500?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Because
she,
that's from the state. Okay, thank you. I will revise this, talk to Eddie, and I'll have it, I may try to have it before the next selectmen's meeting and get it submitted. I don't want to be late on it. So, it's due September 1st.
And all the other forms have been accepted.
Yes. No, I don't know about one of them. The last one submitted. I'm
If
not
we,
certain about that.
if we have to do something, you have to let us know.
I will. They'll let me know. Okay,
Sure.
that's it for me.
All right. Next select meeting is gonna be 27th. No, make that the 28th. So, meeting adjourned.